Well, let's see. Advanced Microsoft Word. Again, my favorite. This will be the fastest hour and 40 minutes of my life. We're going to talk about styles, style sets, style themes. These are tools that will rock your world. These are tools that will make you look like a magazine publisher or somebody that works in the big industry of publishing, desktop publishing, because these are the tools that some of those companies use. And it's really powerful stuff. And so we're going to go through them, explain what they are, and show you how to use them. Also, we're going to get to the navigation pane. We'll be talking about the headings option, the pages option, the results option, and you'll start to get an appreciation for just how powerful this tool is as we go through that. We'll talk about, we'll demonstrate how to build an automatic table of contents. Never again will you have to go chapter 1, ... all the way across the page, and then you put the number 2. So there we go. So the first page is blank because I used to use this to do a table of contents, but then I decided there were better ways or better examples. But anyway, down here we can see just some simple text here, and we see some differences between the size and brightness or coloring of all of this. And what are we looking at? Well, we're actually looking at some styles. And if you're on the Home tab ribbon, past the font group, the paragraph group, we have a styles group. And we can see right now that wherever my cursor is, and I assume it's up on the blank page up above, it's normal. There's no headings or any custom styles. And what are custom styles? Well, there's one way to get to it is like that, but that is very confusing as far as I'm concerned. It's all kind of jumbled in there and we don't know. It's kind of hard to tell what it is. There's a much better way. And that way is to actually open up the styles pane. And how do you do that? In the styles group, on the Home tab ribbon, over here in this bottom right, you see the little arrow there. I'm going to go up and click on it, and bam, wherever your styles pane was before, that's where it's going to end up. If I ended my last session and I just grabbed the top of that and dragged it, and it was stuck over here, then it's probably going to end up over there next time you open it up. But the way, and you can put it anywhere you want, but the way to get it back is you just double click on the top. Bam, it goes back. And like most things in the Microsoft world, you can squish things down or open them up, whatever's comfortable for you. I may be adjusting that a little bit here and there, but for right now, we'll leave it fairly big. So let's take a look at this for real quick. First thing is, if this looks different on your screen, it may be that you've already created some custom styles, and you can certainly do that, and then they will remain different, and we'll see how that changes later on. But most important, down here it says show preview, and it's checked. I'm going to uncheck that so you can see the difference. Aha. So basically, if we're looking at a heading 1 or a heading 2 or a heading 3, we can't really tell what those look like. And so I prefer to always go here to the show preview and check that. So at least now we can see a heading 1 is bigger than a heading 2, which is bigger than a heading 3, which looks different than a heading 4. And by the way, is there a heading 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Yes, there are. And if you end up using a heading 4, then the heading 5 will show up, and so on and so forth. But right now, I'm going to click over here anywhere in this body of text that repeats over and over, as it says there, and you can see that it's normal. But if we look over here where this is, it looks a little bit different. So I'm just going to click anywhere inside that paragraph, we're going to call that. And now you see there's a blue box around heading 1. Well, what's going on with heading 1? Let's take a look. So if I just simply hover my mouse over the top, a little screen tip window pops open. Let's take a look at it. Heading 1, font, default, happens to be Calibri Light. It's 16-point font color, accent 1, whatever that means. Apparently it's some kind of blue. You go down a little further, it's the paragraph group. Now think about when we're up here, this is a font group, paragraph group, right? So be thinking along those terms as we go along. And I can't really go down here and get to the, oh, I can. Ha! I just learned a new trick. I can go out here. Oh, no, it's not going to work. Come on. Okay. Last time I tried that, it ends up in heading 2, so I can't actually point to stuff. But there we go. 16-point font color, accent 1. So there again, as you practice and you use things more often and you start poking around and right-clicking, left-clicking, and doing different things, even Mr. J can learn something new. So now I learned how I can get down here and show you stuff. So here we are. That's the font group, all the things out of that font group. And this is the paragraph group. If you've been to the other class, we've talked about spacing. Before is 12 points. That's what's above over there. After is 0. All right. And then line and page breaks, blah, 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 blah. This is the most important part. Outline level, level 1. And that's important. We'll see that in just a little bit when we open up our navigation pane. All right. And then just some other information that's down here that we don't need to pay attention to at this time. But let's go to the next one. Now it says it's a heading 2. Let's see if my trick can work again. Oh yeah, I like that. All right, so in the font group, we can see it's no longer 16 point. It's a little smaller, it's 13 point. It still has the same accent color, and looking over at my page towards the left, yeah, that looks about the same. Before, it is only a 2-point space instead of whatever the last one was. I can't remember, I think it was 12. But most importantly, most significantly, is outline level, level 2. All right. And think of back in high school or in college when you had to write a report and you had to make an outline and you had these main different paragraphs or sections, and then you had subtopics and maybe subtopics. And when you put it in an outline form, well, you'll see that in a minute. That's what it's going to look like. So just kind of go back to that. All right. And then last but not least, heading 3. Boy, I like that little trick. So it's a little smaller. It's 12 point instead of 13. Still the same color because it's so much smaller. I guess it looks like a different color, but it's not. 2 points before, after, and again, most significantly, outline level, level 3. All right, well, that's cool. And how does this work? Anyone that you click on, if there's a style that's in play, up here, if it's visible in this little tiny window, which is why I always open this up, you'll see the little box around it, right? And then you see the blue box around that right there. And then of course, if I switch, now we see it's around heading 2, it's around heading 2 over there. And what of that? Well, just to show you how this works and how this can be a tool that can make things go very quickly, I'm just gonna go up here to, oh, it's right there, normal. Now I clicked in where it says heading 1, I'm just gonna make it a normal. Other than being indented down here and this upper part not, that's the only real difference here. It's exactly the same everything as far as the font and the size and all of that. And it's just normal. But then this is the idea. You type something out and you head over here and you just say heading 1, and now it automatically looks like that. And whereas that may not seem impressive at this moment, as we get further down and I actually pop open one of my 100-page handbooks from a couple, 3, 4 years ago, and with all custom styles, mind you, nothing looks like this, it's all custom, you will be impressed, I hope, at how quickly you can make this work. And this is why my other trainers in the department that do Power School are all working out of the template that I made based on custom styles. And we'll show that to you in a minute. But so this is our little brief introduction, and that's all I wanted to share with you on that. So I'm going to go up, and this is a reminder. When you open up something and you're practicing with it, if you don't have a copy of it to keep the original in its original state, then when you're done and you can go here and I can start making that a heading 1 or whatever, and I'm destroying stuff and I'm messing things up and it all looks weird, no problem. At the very end of when you're done practicing, toying, experimenting, whatever, do this. And it says, hey, you want us to save all that stuff you just did? Absolutely not. And next time you open it up, I'll just try it. It'll end up looking just like it did. Come on. Come on. Sometimes Zoom makes things happen slow. So the empty first page, look at that. All that terrible stuff I just did to it, not information about them, and then quotes from various books that they wrote with the quotes in between them. And this one has, William Faulkner has 3 different books with quotes that are underneath them. And then Ernest Hemingway, a little bit of biographical information about him with quotes from The Sun Also Rises, The Old Man and the Sea, a couple of my favorite books. Alexander Dumas, a French author, biographical information, blah, blah, blah. He's the one that did Count of Monte Cristo and The Three Musketeers and all that. And then Victor Hugo, of course, who did the Les Mis. And so again, we have the author, biographical information, and then quotes from 1 or more books that are there. And that's all this is. And so there's some yesterday, or, oh boy, yeah, we covered docs. And if you're in our docs class, and we talked about the difference between formatting and editing. Editing is when you change the words, the sentences, all of that, adding, sentences, nouns, verbs, whatever. And formatting is just the way that it appears. And so the formatting that's done here is all just basic stuff. So again, look up here, we can see what's in play. If I click on right here, nope, nothing's happening with that one. But right here, we see it's both italicized and bold, right? And that's the only real thing I've done. And then of course, this part down here is indented. In fact, you can see our little thing on our ruler up there moving as I go back and forth. But there's very few things that have actually been done to this. So we're going to use this as an exercise to practice with our styles. Now here's the bummer. Whereas some window panes like the navigation pane will stay open. When you close a document, you open up another one. If you had the navigation pane open before, it will be there. Styles, for some unknown reason, and this always bothered me because I use styles every day when I'm writing out a handbook, I have to go back and click that thing and it goes to its default width. And if I want to, give me more real estate over here, then I got to kind of squish it in there or whatever. One of the fastest way to add a page above is to take everything on this page and send it down to the next page. And the fastest way to do that is simply put your cursor at the top point. Since this is centered, it would just be right there as the most prime point at the very top. Hold down the control key and tap your enter key one time. Let's go back down and we're going to put our cursor anywhere on that row right there. That's actually a paragraph. And again, if you were with us the other day, this is a tool that I use when I'm actually making things because it helps me understand the layout of what's there. And it took me a while to learn how to not see these things until I wanted to, because the first time you put it on, you're like, oh my gosh, there's like a dot in between every word. Well, that tells you only have a single space. And that's important to know when you're laying things out, because sometimes you're typing quickly, you accidentally get two spaces there and then it's not done properly. So this entire thing was typed out and then a return key was hit. That's what the backwards P is, known for a paragraph. And then because of the spacing, the way it's set up, it just jumped down to here. And after typed out biographical information, hit the enter key again, went down here, so on and so forth. So when we're dealing with these headings over here, if it has a P, like you see right above my little red spot here, or if it has an A and a P, then what that's referring to is it will either do the word or it will do the entire paragraph. But if there's a backwards P over here, you don't have to select all this to get the heading one. So again, anywhere on that section that's a paragraph, I can go over here, I'm gonna scroll up and just go to heading one, I'm gonna tap it. So that should look familiar because we saw that on the other page. These are the default styles. All right, and so if you're following along, we're going to make all of the authors a heading one. And the biographical information, we're gonna make it, right now it's normal, we wanna make it a heading two. If you accidentally hit heading one, and you're like, oh wait, he said heading two, that's great. Just, the cursor's still there, just hit heading two. It's that easy. That's why styles are so powerful. So again, if you've been in a class where we're learning formatting, this could be a different font, different size, different color, all of those things, they can be all programmed into a style, and you could have 100 formatting features in a single style. When you go click, it instantly changes to all 100. It's the slickest thing in the world. We'll see that in just a minute. Quotes, I mentioned before, we're gonna make that a heading 3. So I'm gonna go fairly quickly here, but I'm gonna make all of the quotes a heading 3. But I'm gonna stop right about there because we need to open something up. And there's my Zoom window in the way. Let's see if I can get to it. Up on your ribbon tabs, if you can get to the view, I think I can reach that without touching that. Oh yeah, it worked. Hey, and the view tab ribbon, different layouts and views, different things are available to you. In the show group, there's something called navigation pane. And when you click that, it opens up a navigation pane over here on the left. And that's what we want. In fact, you'll see that I have it up here on my quick access toolbar, which by the way, let's get that quick access toolbar where I like it, kind of like how Google has it. Google, I think, copied Mr. J and put it on the bottom. So where is it? Show quick access toolbar below the ribbon. There it is. Now it's closer to us. I'm going to remove that real quick, remove from quick access toolbar. And yes, this is as easy as it is to do all of these things. And what is this? These are actual styles. So I don't even have to go to the Home tab ribbon and click on the styles, open this up. I can do it from right here. So you kind of see where we're going with this. We're here on, pardon me, we're here on the View tab ribbon. And in the Show Group navigation pane, we just checked it. That's why this shows up. But right-click on the feature. Add to Quick Access Toolbar. Now, anytime we want to, it'll be there. And by the way, when you open up the next document, you will still have your Quick Access Toolbar, even though it's an entirely different document. All right, so that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at what we did. We did a heading 1, we did a heading 2, and then 3 heading 3s, and there they are. And remember that outline from high school and college where you had the main topic and a subtopic? Biographical information is, belongs to this guy, William Faulkner, and these are his books. And so I should probably get a female author up here, sorry. But this is all the information about William Faulkner. And as we go down, we'll see the next one is Ernest Hemingway Miller. And we want to make that a heading 1. Aha. And so we're starting a new group, as it were. And then the biographical information, I click there and I hit a heading 2. And then we stroll down a little bit. The Sun Also Rises, a book I've read like 6 times. I have no idea why. And that's going to be a heading 3. And so we see the similarities as it's starting to unfold. And then I can go down and do a quotes 3. Then we get to Alexander Dumas, that's a heading 1. And biographical information is a heading 2. All right, so I can continue this and then this will build out and all of that. Let's save some time. We're in the Zoom world. So what I'd like you to do, and you're going to be probably bummed out that you're going to say, don't save this, but trust me, I've got something planned for you. Don't save, it goes back to original. Now I'd like you to open up Quotes v3. So here we are on Quotes version 3. This is an empty page and it's designed that way so we can already have our table of contents. And let's take a look at this. Same thing you saw before. Let's see, I need to make me some room here. Let's move that over a little bit. Move this over a little bit, clean up some real estate here. Can I see the edges of my pages yet? Yeah, there we go. I like to be able to see the edge of my paper. It helps me when I'm laying things out. So this is all done here. Well, what's the big deal about the navigation page? Headings, pages, results. All of this is discussed in the handbook, but we're going to go through it right now. Well, navigation. Think of your car, trying to tell you how to get to your favorite restaurant that you haven't been to yet. You have to navigate there. Well, let's see. Hemingway, right now we're looking at Faulkner. What? Can I just click on that and now I'm right there instantly? Well, that's pretty cool. How about Alexander Dumas? Well, that's pretty slick. Oh, I want Quotes from the Count of Monte Cristo, one of my all-time favorite books. Boom, there we are. We're navigating. This is only a 4 or 5 page paper. You're going to see in a little bit when we get to Mr. J's 100-page handbook, plus or minus 100-page handbook, that navigating over here is just so much better. So a couple quick things. You see these little arrows here. You've seen those before. They're certainly in your Google Drive, in your Drive file tree. And let's see if we click one. Okay, so it's like an expand collapse button, right? There it is. And if we want to do it that way, we could. Okay, so if we just want to concentrate on maybe Alexander Dumas, and that's the one we're looking at, or maybe making some changes here, well, these other sections, everything's still there, but they're just kind of hiding because they haven't been expanded or collapsed. All right, if you've been to my other classes, I talked about double clicking on things. I talked about right clicking on things. Oh, look at this. So right there where I was, it says, hey, do you want to demote this? What does that mean? Alexander Dumas is an author and we made him a heading 1. If I want to make him a heading 2, I can do it right here. Okay. Or I can add another heading above or below. I could delete the whole section right there, which I could do. And you know what? I might just do that just to illustrate a point. Oh, wow. Now I only have 3 authors. Well, here's another one of my all-time favorite tools. Undo. Okay, he's back. All right, so right click again. Let's see what our other options are. You can print out that one. You can select the heading and content for some reason. See what this is doing over here? It's all selected. Expand all, bam, there you go. How about collapse all? Bam, now you just have the 4 sections. So now you're getting an idea of how powerful this thing is. And you can choose. If you have 6 different headings in your group, then you can show all the way to that if you want. Right now we're collapsed. Let's expand all. And so we can take a look at that again and go down to show heading levels. It's showing all of them. I only have 3 levels in this. If we get to my handbook, we can show all the way down to, I believe heading 4 is what I have in my handbook. That happens to be the exercises. Okay, Mr. J, that's great. You can navigate, you can go up and down. Yeah, you just made the authors a little bit bigger in blue and biographical information. Okay, but what's the real deal here? Why is that exciting? Well, I'm about to tell you. All right, I've just decided Alexander Dumas needs to go all the way down the bottom. I can left click, grab him, let him go. Now he's there. What? Okay, what about Faulkner? Well, I want Faulkner to go after Hemingway. Make sure that blue line isn't in the middle of Hemingway, because that's where it's going to insert all of Faulkner's stuff, both his name, biographical information, and the 3 different quote sections. So we want to make sure we're at the end of Hemingway, and it automatically moves. I guess an easier way to do that is right click, and we could say collapse all. Now we can do it real easy. We'll put Dumas at the top. We'll put Hemingway down at the bottom. And just that fast, we are adjusting this entire section in the book. And we just, boom. Now you'll see at the very top of the page, where's the extra page at the top for the table of contents? Alexander Dumas is at the top. So we just move things that quickly. All right, let's go to the references tab. And in the very first group, table of contents. Bam. Let's see, there's a few that are here, and you could spend hours experimenting with this stuff, making your own custom ones. For the purpose of what we're doing, we're just going to pick the second one just to illustrate how easy it is. And bam, there it is. So table of contents. Dumas is first, Faulkner, Hugo, Hemingway, exactly what we have here. All right, and there they are down there. And let's see, can we click on any of these? It's still a Word document, but if you hold down the Control key, you can go straight to that section. That's pretty cool. It's kind of like its own navigation thing. All right. But again, or I won't say again, this is very important. If you create a table of contents, and you'll see this little thing pops up here, update table, you have to pay attention to one thing. When you move something around, like let's say we close this down for today, come back tomorrow, you're like, what am I thinking? I want Faulkner back up at the top. That's great. There he is in your navigation page back at the top. But I want you to notice something. It still says Alexander Dumas and Faulkner is still number 2. This is basically a table of contents, right? So click update. I always choose update entire table, because if you've got footnotes and you've got other things in there, you want to make sure everything's being covered, not just the page numbers. So I'm going to say okay. And now you'll see Faulkner's on top and Dumas is second. That's an important deal. So make sure whenever you're done changing anything, whether you're adding another book, so now there's 4 different sets of quotes under Faulkner, or maybe 5 under Dumas, you always want to update your table and so that this is accurate. So we did some cool things. Yeah, okay, great. Navigation, that's neat. Well, what else can we do with all this? Let's take a look. There's so much we can do with this, but before, I'm going to leave this open for right now, and you don't have to do this, but I'm doing this for the sake of demonstrating something. All right, you may have seen this before in a different class, maybe not, but I want you to appreciate the formatting that we see here. I will tell you, editing wise, there's not a thing different on this page or any of these pages, but formatting wise, its appearance is totally different. In fact, if we were to print this out and color and all that, you could say, wow, that looks like something that would come right out of a magazine or something like that. Very professional. And start considering, okay, I got to make a box. It's going to be that color. Got to make another box, have a little space between them. I'm going to put, bold lettering here. And then we use this font. And this font has to be, white so it can stand out. And this one's going to be black. And so you start to think of all these formatting things that you have to do. Well, forget that. We're in a Lamborghini. This is not about taking 4 hours to get somewhere. You can get there in 35 minutes as long as you don't get pulled over. So let's get back to our other one. I'm going to go ahead and dump out of there. This is where you all should be. We're still in the same one. We'll just go down here so we can kind of see this. So here's the first thing we're going to do. Since we're here, I'll just put my cursor up there just so we're at the top of the page and ready to go. We want to go to the Design tab ribbon. I'm going to click on that. And now we see some interesting stuff. Wow, this is the biggest group I think that exists in all of Microsoft Office. It's the document formatting group, and it's got all these little different parts to it. And again, whenever you see like a box like this, that's what's in play right here. This is the default style set that comes from Microsoft, all right? That's why that one's selected, and that's why this looks like that. And that's why this over here looks like that. But we've got colors, we got fonts, we got some other things, we got a watermark, all kinds of stuff you can play around with, which we won't have time for. But if we were in our handbook right now and we were following along, it would say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to expand this. See, it even said more button over there. We're gonna look around here and actually, I'm gonna go back. Since we are in a Lamborghini, we can instantly, assuming your computer has plenty of memory, you can instantly have a preview of whatever these sections look like. Now that's pretty cool. And you're not committing to any of these. We're not actually changing it. We're just getting a preview of what it looks like. But in your handbook, it will tell you to expand this. And for the sake of making it easy, the one that has the blue little bar across it happens to be called the shaded style set. That's what these are, style sets. Over here, styles. What we're looking at here is style sets. I forgot to mention that, I apologize. But the shaded style set, watch what happens when I left click on it. Well, you can already see, well, you can see over here, it's starting to change. It's hard to see because it's kind of buried underneath there, but it's already giving you a preview. But I want you to look over here. This is still the default one because that's where we are. Now I'm going to click on this and watch what happens to my styles pane. So not only did my document change, but all my styles did as well. All right. So you're thinking, wow, that's all you have to do to make it look like that magazine we just saw a minute ago? That's right. But wait, there's more. If I want to, I can go in and I can start tweaking the colors in any way I want. Come on. Come on, computer. Let me get my cursor back here again, see if I can do this. Come on. Sometimes computers go slow and they don't want to do stuff, or you might have clicked away, and if your page isn't active, it will not show a preview. So that's what I did. I just simply went back and clicked over there by William Faulkner's name, and now we can hover over all of these. And hey, if you want custom colors, go for it. If you want to change the fonts, you get all these options. And so you start to see the power of how quickly you can change stuff. But wait, there's more. So here we have our styles. That's how we set up heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and all that. Then we found our style sets up here in the design tab ribbon. Now we're going to jump into style themes. All right. And so now there's a whole nother set of different fonts, different colors, still with the shaded theme that we have here, these bars across it, but it's changing. But the one we're going to pick, and the one I think that's in the handbook, is this one that says Save On, but I decided because it was special, we're going to give it a more European flair, Savon. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not, but we're going to call it that, and we're going to click on it. So what it's done is it's changed the fonts and the spacing and just kind of the general appearance. And once we select that, then it also changes over here. And if we went up and we change the colors to something else, maybe orange or something, then this will all change to reflect that as well. All right. So what we did in very little time, just a few clicks. Remember, after we put in our heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, which was about 25 clicks to get all of this done. Let's expand all those so we can see them. All right. After we did those 15 or something clicks that we did, there it was all ready to go with the styles. Went up to the style sets, made a selection, then went to style themes, made another selection, and there we are. And so the more you use this, the more you become familiar with your options. And again, driving that Lamborghini, just hovering over things, you can start to see all the different options that are available. And now these appear, just so we know, look totally different now because we have this Savon theme in play, right? And so that's why we're seeing stuff that we haven't seen before. Pretty cool. All right, so there it is. And now your headings are set up this way. Okay, so at this point, what I want to do, we already did our table of contents, right? There it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get out of this, and we don't need this one anymore. And I'm not going to save it because I want to keep it in its original form for later, for my next class. And let's take a look around real quick. So what I'm going to do next is down here, and I believe I sent this to you. This is a handbook from a few years ago. We're going to go ahead and open that up. And because I have macros in here, and it's a long explanation as to what that is, but basically Every time you open up new, it says, are you sure? Can you trust this? And I promise you, there's nothing hidden in here that's going to get into your bank accounts and steal all your money or anything like that. Okay, so again, navigation pane stays open, and you can see that that's a pretty long document, all the way down to, it looks like chapter 9, part 9, and then here's all the descriptions for the different things. That's pretty cool. Now let's get our styles pane open, and again, I have this little cheat right here that I can do that. Or I can just go up here and hit that one, does the same thing. And again, check this out. It always takes up too much real estate. So you got to kind of move things around a little bit, but that's not that hard. All right, show preview. Oh, I was freaking out because I wasn't seeing my special stuff up there. Okay, there it is. Sorry. So we don't take time to explain this, but there's information on this in the handbook, and of course you can always Google it, but this is some very advanced stuff. But I will tell you that every single one of these styles I created, and you can see by the preview that some things are indented more to the right than the other one. And in fact, you hover over it, it gives you the, hey, I did it. It tells you the indentation, the hanging indentation, you know, bullet listed, level 1, whatever, all these different things, information on it. I have all of these, and this is how we make up a handbook. This is what my heading 1s look like. I'm going to hover over it. Got it. 60-point font. That's ginormous. It kind of looks like what you're looking at on the screen right now. Okay. Which is different than a heading 2. And they're all set up for the purpose of a handbook. And we trainers that work with Power School, all things Power School, and then all of these classes, we're all using this same, these same styles in a template. So what are we looking at here? Let's take a look. So if we go to part 2, style sets and all that, you can see that is 60-point font. You can also see that it's in the middle of the page. All of that was set up in this heading right here, where it's going to tell you that that's how it was designed to go right smack dab in the middle. All right. If we go to a heading 2 place, all of them look like this. And in fact, you look down here and you can see, I got to get better at doing this. Come on. Oh, I got there. Just got to be fast. All right. So where is it? So you see a single solid line at the bottom. It's a half-point line. We can see that up there at the top where it says using styles, style sets, and style themes. That's what that looks like. And here's all the descriptions. It's a 20-point font, whatever. This is some advanced stuff that I did, just to kind of squeeze those letters together a little bit more so I could get longer titles across the page like that. That's what that is. But anyway, all of that's custom available to you, and you can make any one that you want. Just know that when you make a custom style, it will pretty much stay in your styles unless you go back to default ones, and it will be there. And you can actually take over heading 1s and make them entirely new, and they will stay entirely new until you put them back in default. So be careful when you're experimenting with this. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. So let's go down a little bit further. So we see that we have some more expansion buttons here. And if I right click and I say show level headings, right now it's only showing 3. Let's go up and say all, because we're not sure how many we have. We actually only have 4. And what's a heading 4? Let's click on that. Exercise 2.0, how to apply heading styles to a document. That's cool. And we look down here and check it out. You can actually see in the preview the box, and I got up there. So here's all of the things that I did to make it look just like what you see at the top of my page there, exercise 2.0. All of these things were put into play and designed, and then I saved it as heading 4. What does that really mean? Well, I'm going to click on heading 4. Then I'm going to go down here. I'm going to find my normal. There it is. So you're telling me, Mr. J, that all I have to do is type out exercise 2.0 double space, because that's how we do it, how to apply heading styles to a document. You can see the steps in the screenshots down below, but we want to make that look cool and make it look like every other exercise in the entire 100-page handbook. Click. Done. Evenly spaced on both sides. This is evenly spaced in the middle because that's how it was set up. All of that. In fact, you can look up here and see that it's centered in the middle. You can see that it's underlined. You can see that it's bold. And whatever styles I put into that, you can hover over this, got down there, and you can see all the things that were done. So that's it. So again, if I accidentally click and I hit a heading 2, like, oh my gosh, I've ruined my document. No, just say, no, that's supposed to be a heading 4. Sorry, need to get some coffee or something. There we go. So that's how fast you can set up a handbook. You just type things out. And because I have the listed by numbers, 12-point spacing, 6-point spacing, all the different things, then I can adjust this as I want to kind of squeeze the page together to make more information fit, so that maybe a chapter ends right here instead of 2 inches down on the next page. I just use all these different ones to accommodate what I need to make space in this handbook. So you may not be doing giant handbooks in your department or where you're working, but all of these tools will still work. If your job at a school site is one of the responsibilities is to make flyers or something like that, and you always want them to have a header a certain way, all that, you can make a template, but you can also set up your styles to do that. But let's take a peek here. So here's our big giant long handbook. And again, any exercise we look at, they're all going to be just like that. But let's go up here and I'm going to type in the word pane, P-A, like a window pane, not the kind that hurts. I'm going to type in pane. All right. And when I do that, a couple things are going to happen. Because I'm in the heading section, anywhere where it talks about a pane is going to be in yellow. And then on the page where it is, it will be highlighted in yellow. Well, that's pretty cool. So I happen to know that there's, in this section right here, adding or removing features, somewhere down there is the word pane. Okay, well, let's take a look at here. If we go to the results tab, it shows us in a different way. Part 3, the navigation pane. Well, let's find out where that is. Ah, that makes sense. It's actually in the table of contents. All right, let's go down a little bit further. Effective use of the navigation pane. Ah, there it is. It's in the introduction section, talking about what this book or this handbook covers. I'll go down a little bit further. Oh, and then on this particular page, you can see it, the panes there in a couple places. That's great. Or you could then go to the page section, and then you could widen this out a little bit. Come on. And so you could widen it as far as you want so you can see more pages, but it looks like it's not going to show us the table of contents, but it's on page 10. And if you could see your squinty little eyes right there, you can see yellow. I can see it here and I can see it there. I just click on it. It takes you to that same page of where it is. So this is just another way to find something in your document. You're navigating, you're trying to find where a certain word is and how many times you've employed it. And again, you can look at it in all these different ways. This section up here has a lot of panes in it because it's the section on navigation pane. But down here, not so many, in the mail merge and so on and so forth. But that's a pretty powerful tool to be able to find different things that you're looking for. So there's that. And how do you make the yellow go away? You just simply go up and delete pane right there, and then it will all goes back to normal. All right, so that's the navigation pane. Let me look and see if I've covered all of that. All right, we did pretty good. We made it through styles, style sets, style themes. We went very quickly, but now you're starting to see why this is a hypercar in a Lamborghini, something that can get you somewhere very quickly and actually have a lot of fun doing it. I think that's a good analogy. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to jump right into mail merging, how to make mailing labels. So for that, we're going to get rid of this and make it go away. Don't save, just in case I accidentally click something. I don't want to do that. We actually don't need anything right here at this point. So I'm going to shrink that. And now I'm going to open up a brand new Word document, a blank one. Because when you're, and we actually don't need our navigation pane. So I can hit that, or I can go up here and go click, same thing. That's why you have this quick access toolbar. All right, so here's a blank document, brand new. That's all we've opened up. And what we're going to do is we're going to make some labels. And we need a little bit of information, but we're just going to follow the example that's in the handbook. In fact, if I go down to my handbook and I go to the part where it says mail merge, how to make mailing letters. Or mailing labels, sorry. There it is, our beautiful level 4 exercise window. And all the steps and the screenshots to support it. So even though we're going through this quickly right now, you're going to be able to have basically kind of handheld to go through these steps. It's all written up with screenshots all the way through. And on this one, because it's fairly technical, it takes several screenshots, several pages. So if you forget how to do it, you can come back and you can look at this. And hopefully in the near future, you can click on our new website and you'll have a video presentation of how to do the same. So there'll be a couple ways to do it. So let's get that down there. Again, we're just in a blank document. So now mail merge happens in the mailings tab ribbon. So we're going to click on that. And the way that we do it in the handbook, there's always more than one way to do something, is we're going to work in the start mail merge group. All right. And it says start mail merge, and you hit that little drop down menu. Later, we're going to be doing a letter. And if you want to do an email, it's kind of the same way. If you want to label envelopes, you would use this part. But what we're doing is labels. So again, just to reiterate, oh, come on, where'd it go? Oh, sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. In the Start Mail Merge group, drop down, go to labels. Don't go to this one over here. It's a different path. All right. And you're going to get this dialog box that's going to come up. And let's take a look at it. This is the label options dialog box. There's about 1,000 dialog boxes that I've seen in Word over the years, and this is just one of them. And there's lots of choices here. So depending on what kind of printer you have and all that, you may have to make some adjustments here for these labels. But essentially it's saying, well, what kind of labels do you have? Well, let's take a look. There are a ton of companies from 3M to Avery. Avery is probably the most common, and that's what we use in our examples. But there's a ton of companies out there that make different kinds of labels. And so we have to know what kind of label we're going to be putting in the tray, because remember, these are label sheets that we're buying, 50 sheets of, labels of some kind, name tags or whatever. And in this case, they're address labels. So they're a little bit smaller, but they're Avery. So we're going to go ahead and select Avery US letter. And if you can't find that, it should be right there in the beginning somewhere up towards the top. You just have to find it. So Avery US letter. Now, I want you to see how many different labels Avery US letter has for that style. Look at the elevator car above my mouse and how slowly it's moving, and look at the numbers on the left. We're actually looking for 8620. Your handbook will tell you that it's 8620 easy peel address labels, something like that. Well, I'm in 2016 because I'm on my home computer. The one in the labs are 2013 still, but I happen to know that it's at the very bottom or close to the very bottom, and it's actually 8620. Again, this is written in your handbook. So now you can see we're going 88, 86, we're almost to 20, but they threw a curveball at us. It no longer says, whatever I just said, I already lost it. Easy peel, I think, easy peel address labels. Now it just says address labels, but it is 8620, and that's the one we're going to use in our example. All right, so again, we just had to figure out what brand we had, and of course, Avery has 100, 300, 500, I don't know, different sets of labels. Think of like name tags, think of little round buttons, that you put on envelopes, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. And so that's it, a little description over here. That's exactly what we want. So again, Avery US letter. Get to 8620 address labels, click OK, and then this grid shows up, or maybe it doesn't. If you on your computer, the last time you used it and you were dealing with tables and you said, don't show the grid, we may have to go get that. So there's two ways to do it. We can do it on the table design tab, or we could do it on the layout tab, but they're in different spots. And so since I haven't done this in a while, I think it's over here. Try borders. Going down to the bottom, view grid lines. Aha. So if you just did again, we're in a brand new document. We went to mailings, we picked the Avery labels and all that, and you don't see anything in here, but you do see table designs up here. Just go to table design, borders, go down to the bottom where it says view grid lines and click on it, and now you'll see it. Okay, that's important. So there we go. Now we'll go back to mailings because we're in the middle of doing all this. So now we got to put some address in here. Well, before I do that, I'm going to go to, and I don't want you to do this. I'm just going to demonstrate it for you. This is our data source. Happens to be an Excel file, mail merge data source. I'm going to open it just to show you what it looks like. This is it. We have 473 fictitious students, the names that have been made up, so none of this is real with fake addresses and all that. But we have a number of columns here. We have first name column, last name column, street address column, city, state, zip column, and we have a contact person. So you can see Camila Acosta's contact person is Mary Doe, another fictitious person, and Sabah Acosta, could be siblings, that contact person is Alex Doe, and so on and so forth. So all this information is important, and we're going to be using that in our form letter. But for right now, we're doing address labels. So we're going to need names and an address, but we won't need a contact person. But I'm just letting you see what this database, this spreadsheet looks like. And so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And by the way, if I left that open and I tried in the mail merge to access it, it's going to say, sorry, it's in use somewhere and I can't get to it. So it has to be closed. Little tip there. All right. So let's see. See if I get myself confused here. So we haven't done this yet. All we've done is gone here and we did labels and then we picked out the Avery or whatever. The next step in your handbook will say, hey, we're going to select some recipients. And so you can type out a new list. Certainly don't want to do that, or use an existing one. And so it's going to say, okay, great. Where is it? And you're going to have to know where it is. Again, this is my home office computer, and I happen to know that I put all my stuff for class on my desktop in folders, and it happens to be in my Zoom class files right here. And if I go to my Zoom Advanced Microsoft Word, because that's what we're doing today, we're going to be able to find the mail merge data source. So again, you at your house, and Corinne will get to you at the end of this class, we'll get those all those files in a folder for you, and I'll send out the handbook if we have the old one. But the mail merge data source, the one that we just saw, is the one that we want. And since we went up here and we said, you know, select recipients and go to an existing, and we found where we have that folder with these files, once we find it, the Excel file, you can click there and then do open, or what I always do is just double click, does the same thing. And now you're going to have one of the thousands of different dialog boxes. This is the select table dialog box. And so this one's called names and addresses. That just happens to be the name of that worksheet. All right. And some other information about it, but very important. First row of data contains column headers. If you remember when I showed that to you, yeah, it said last name, first name, street address, city, zip, whatever, state, contact person. Those are headers. And we don't want that to be in our labels. We certainly don't need a label with the headers on it. We just want the names and the addresses. So make sure that box is selected and that it says this up here. And by the way, if you click away somewhere, you have to go back and select it so that this becomes active, and then you can click OK. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, well, what do we do next? Your handbook will then say, next you want to put in the address block. That's just what they call it. So let's hover over that. Address block. Add an address to your letter. You specify the formatting, the location, and Word will place it with the actual addresses from your recipient list when you finish the mail merge. All right, so it's not distinguishing between a letter, which we're going to have the addresses on later, or in this case, labels, but that's what an address block is. Left click, there, it's going to give us another one of the thousands of dialog boxes. Insert address block dialog box. Well, we're just going to leave this exactly how it is, but just to give you an idea, it says insert recipient's name in this format. Well, I have this one selected. I believe that's the default one, and rightly so. But if you want to, change the way that it looks in any way and all of that, you could certainly just put the first name and not the last name. Not a good idea if you're sending a letter somewhere. But anyway, you have some options, some choices there. And whatever you choose is going to show up over here in a preview. That's pretty cool. And not only that, remember Camilla was the first one. What was the second one? Sabah. And then the third one, we may not have remembered those, but this is just a preview to show us how what we've selected here is going to look. And that looks pretty good. And we'll just go back down to Camilla. All right, just leave these other boxes checked the way that they are, and we don't need to do anything else, and just say, okay. All right, so we look up here, greeting line. That will come into play when we're doing our writing our letter. Insert merge field. Interesting. Wonder what fields they're talking about. Oh, look at that. First name, last name, street address, city, state, zip, contact person. That should sound familiar. That's what's in our Excel document. We don't need to deal with this right now because we actually are just putting the address block there with the name and address of the individuals. So at this point, let me click away. We can go up here and say, update labels. It said, let's read what it says. If you're creating labels, update all the labels in the document to use information from the recipient list. That's our Excel file. For a mail merge to a printed letter or email, this command is not necessary. Well, that's interesting. We won't have to do that next time. So I simply say update labels and watch what happens to our sheet here. It added address blocks all the way down to all of these. That's pretty cool. And now we can, if we want, remember, we're still in a blank document, document 1. We haven't saved this, we haven't labeled it, we haven't done anything, but we can preview the results. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, interesting. So we can see that everything's pushed over to the left. It's kind of spaced out like that. What if we wanted to change the font? Maybe we wanted to center it, or for some reason we want everything over to the right. Could we do that? Yeah, you would think that by selecting this and seeing that then you could go to your Home tab ribbon and start adjusting things and all of that, but that's actually not how it works. So I'm gonna click over here. All right, so what do? I'll just click away over here. I put my cursor at the very beginning, hold down the Control key, and then you tap the A, the letter A, and that's select all. Everything's selected all the way down, all right? Then I can go up here, I should be able to do this, and adjust things to the middle, adjust it to the right if I want, whatever. If I want to change my font, the font size, if I want to change the spacing between it, make it more crunched together, I could change the color if I wanted, and I could do all that. And then once you have it all selected that way, then you can make those adjustments. We're just going to leave it the way that it is and go back to our mailing tabs ribbon. We just saw the preview. Again, we're still in document 1, and you'll see in a second why that's important. And then we go over here to finish and merge, and we hit this little drop down button. If we want to go straight to print, because we already have our stuff in the printer, we're ready to go, we could do that. I don't recommend you doing this in the exercise. You're going to be wasting lots of paper and ink. But let's do this, edit individual documents. It's another way that we could then go to print after that. But again, if you look up at the top left, it says document 1. Watch what happens when I say edit individual documents. Well, first it says this, do you want to merge all records? Yes, we want all of them. I guess this is if you only want to do like the first page to do a test run or see how it lines up or something, you could do it there. But once you do that, we have a new document here. How do I know that? For 2 reasons. One, there's document 1 that we were just in, and I'll move this over. We can see what that looks like back there, document 1, but this is the one that just opened up, labels 1. So we're going to make that big again so we can see it. And there it is. Now check this out. Look at our elevator car. If I grab this, we're on page 1. When you have 400 something students, you have, oh, interesting. It's calling it page 1, the whole thing. I've never actually seen that before, or noticed, I should say. But anyway, they're all there, all the way down to the very last one, which is Sarah Zuniga. And if we open up that again, I'll show you that that is in fact the very last one. But we're going to use our trick here, Control button, the Home key in between your keypad and your QWERTY keyboard, take you back up to the top. Cool. So this is actually something you can save. Just remember, if you get some new students, you may have to update this, or if some students, leave or whatever, but you could save this, label it whatever you want, maybe the date, so you know when it was made. But there it is. And now all I got to do is go over here to print and push print. Of course, I got to put my Avery US letter 8620 Easy Peel label addresses in the printer. But assuming you get it set up in there right, it's going to come out perfect every time. And all of those are there. You just peel them off and stick them on an envelope. And again, if you wanted to, we saw before up there where you could actually put it directly onto an envelope if you have a printer that will handle that. So that's pretty cool. So that's that one. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'm not going to save it. And again, this is document 1. We're going to get out of there, and I'm not going to save it. No reason to. And now we want to go find another file to move forward. And so what we want to find this time is mail merge form letter. And I will tell you that we're going to insert a date. We're going to do put in the address, a greeting. We're going to have a specific contact person that relates to the name of the person, like we saw. In fact, why not? Why don't I just open that other one up again? The data source. So there it is again. Each student has a different contact person in this list. I use another trick, hold down the control key, and next to my home key, H-O-M-E key, is the E-N-D or end key. Hold down the control key, hit the end key, and it takes us all the way down to the bottom. And sure enough, there's Sarah Zuniga, the very last one that we have. Oh, and look, and Bodo is the contact person. That's great. Let's get back to the top. Control home takes us back up to the top. Just so you know, this could be a brand new, this one actually says mail merge form letter. I put that for you or gave you that just so we have this already printed out. You could be just typing the letter out right now and then doing the mail merge as you go. You can do it either way, but I did this simply for convenience and make things go faster. And so what we have to do now is we have to erase things. Now, if you've been in my other classes and we talk about, selecting things, sometimes it's hard to just select right to the end because, oh, we got it. But sometimes it jumps back and forth. If it's too far, hold down the shift key and then your arrows, your up, down, right, left arrows, do your left arrow in one character at a time. It'll go back until just that is selected. What's another way to do it? You can then just put your cursor right there at the front, hold down the shift key, and then just tab the right arrow and one key at a time. But wait, there's more. If you could just have it back here, there's another trick. If you do Control Shift and then right arrow, it does it one word or one chunk at a time. That's pretty cool. So a couple things to remember. All right, so now that I have that selected just like this, and I don't have the extra part over here, and why don't I want to do that? Because those are spacings. And if I select all the way past that P, when I erase it, then this line jumps down and now things are crunched, and that's why we're doing that. So we want it like that. I hit backspace and now we can type it in. So let's see, what's today? It's Thursday. I'm just going to type this out and oh, look, it's helping me out there. Okay, thank you, machine learning. Thursday, comma, space, December. Oh, look at that. All I can do is hit enter. Don't you love Microsoft Office? All right, so there it is. That's today's date. And by the way, if we were writing a letter for 3 weeks from now, it's not going to help you much because it thinks you're trying to do today. All right, so then the next thing is we're just going to put our cursor here and let's practice our little trick. Control, Shift, and then right arrow. It's about the fastest way to go across there because it's doing it one chunk at a time. Oh, we went too far. Now we just hold down our Shift key and then the left arrow gets us back to there. First thing we want to do is we don't want our address in bold. I simply just put these in bold so they stood out so that we could see where we're going to put the address block, greeting line, contact person. So let's get rid of the bold, make the bold go away, and then just hit the backspace key. And now we're the exact spot where we want to do our address. But again, we're on the home tab ribbon. So let's get back to mailings. And we've already started over here. We did all these different things, or did we? No, we didn't. I'm sorry. I forgot. We haven't done that yet. We did that with the last one. So let's get started. Click here and guess what we're doing? Letters. Perfect. It's okay that we already did this. Remember, you can be typing this out as you go. So that's all we were doing is a little bit of formatting. Select recipients, use an existing list. Absolutely. It's the one we just saw. Again, if it is open somewhere, this Excel file, you cannot use it. It won't allow you to use it. So you got to make sure that it's closed. And I just did close it so I can use it. Mail merge data source, my Excel file that we just saw. I'm going to double click on that to do it quick. And here's our dialog box. For some reason, went up to the sky. How do I get that down from there? Okay, come on. This must be a Zoom thing. Wow, I almost couldn't get that out of there. It's right up there where all my Zoom stuff is. Okay, so we've seen this before just a little bit ago, and names and addresses happens to be the name of that Excel file. As far as the worksheet, I should say, is names and addresses. The actual file is called whatever I said it was, mail merge source something. And again, make sure first row of data contains column headers. Yep, want to make sure that one's done. And if that's selected in blue, see what happens down here? See this blue here? I can click on that. But if I haven't selected anything yet, you can click all day long, nothing's going to happen. Make sure that's selected and that one's checked and say, okay. So now it's all these things are no longer gray. and they've opened up. We don't need to deal with that one. This is where our address block was going to go. That's what we just did. We erased my words there telling us where it was going to go. So we just click address block. And here's our insert address block dialog box. And again, we saw this before, so we don't need to spend any time really going through all that. And we can just go okay. And now the address block is there. And you may have noticed before that it said address block and it had these weird little left, right arrow thingies or whatever. That's just the programming language, whatever, telling it where to insert that data from the source file, in this case, the Excel file that we have. Great. So now we need to do the whole process again, but for our greeting, address block, greeting. All right, so put the cursor there. Let's practice our trick. Control Shift, hold it down, tap your right arrow, and it goes very quick. Oh, went too far. Just hold down the Shift key, the back arrow, and we're right on. So again, I don't want it to be bold. I don't want to go back to the Home tab ribbon. If I had my shortcuts out here, which I do typically on my computer that I use to write handbooks, I have about 40 things across there that I use every time. So that's helpful in addition to my styles. But look, you just right click on that and then just unclick on the little shortcut menu that's there. And then once, come on. Oh, it's going to make me do that. I was trying to get rid of it so I could show you more easily, but Control Shift, bam, 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 bam. What is that? Couple different tabs, no big deal, it goes quick. So now I'm gonna hit it's selected exactly where I want it, so I don't mess with my spacing between paragraphs. Hit the backspace key, and that's exactly where I want my greeting. Come up here, click on that. Then the Insert Greeting Line dialog box opens. Dear such and such, what are the other options? You could do that one. Again, we have all these different options that we saw before. That's fine. Greeting line for invalid recipient names. Oh, what happens if in that big giant Excel file, there's not a first name or the name is missing? What do? And this is a letter. Then you can say, dear sir or madam. But if that's too formal, you could just say, to whom it may concern. Or just skip it all together and just have a letter which just telling you what's going on. We're going to leave it on that. All the names happen to be there, so it doesn't matter. Again, if we wanted to, kind of look through and see the different names and see what it's going to look like per the settings right up here in our little preview window, we could do that. Click that, takes us all the way back to the first one, no problem. But we don't need to worry about that right now. Got our cursor right where we want it. We just say okay. And now we can see the greeting lines there. We're almost done. So down here, the next thing we need to do is put our contact person right in here. So we're going to put the cursor. We're going to put oh, look at that. I put the cursor in the wrong place. No problem. Take my right arrow, tap over a couple. Ready. Now I can hold down my control key and my shift key, and then I hit my right arrow. Bam, 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 bam. There we go. Oh, went too far. No problem. Hold down my shift key, back arrow. There it is. I'm telling you, once you start, when you're doing some serious formatting and you've got a lot of stuff on your screen, even if your screen's big, you've got multiple windows that are open. This shift idea and the control shift is one of the best ways to get, especially when it's tiny on your screen, to be able to get in there and get exactly what you want. Because again, we don't want to include that paragraph, whatever you call that, what'd you call it, command or whatever at the end where it shifts down, because when you erase it, it's going to suck up that whole spacing for that paragraph too. And we don't want it to do that. So first things first, get rid of our bold, and then I'm simply going to hit backspace. And now you'll notice, because we did it exactly right, everything's spaced on all sides. So when that contact name goes in there, Bo Doe, Mary Doe, Jane Doe, whatever they all are, I can't remember, there'll be exactly one space in front and one space in the back. And if we're not sure, we could go up here to the Home tab ribbon, or again, on my quick access toolbar on the computer I use for writing handbooks, I have that little backwards P, and I can click on it, and we see the little dot on either side and know, in fact, it's spaced out well, but I can tell by looking at that. So let's look at this. We already did address block. We did greeting line. Where the heck is the contact one? We saw this before. Insert merge field. What is a field? It's just all the data in a column. First name column, last name column, street address column, city, state, zip columns, contact person. Done. And down here it says contact person. And by the way, if we forgot to get rid of that bold in this example, then this would be in bold. And when Jane Doe, Mary Doe, whoever, Bo Doe shows up, it would be in bold also. But that's looking like we want. If we wanted to, I could add more spaces. It's not going to affect anything other than the fact he's going to have the address way up here and then the greeting line down there. Maybe that's going to work better. Maybe this address block is going to be in a little plastic window in the envelope, and when you try to fold this up, that's exactly the spacing that you want. You can do it however you want to do it. You just can't mess with these things that you've already put in. Don't start trying to type over them or something like that, or it won't work. All right, so there we go. So should we update our labels? Well, we saw that before. For letters, you don't have to, or for emails. Let's go ahead and preview our results. But before I do, remember, we either started and wrote out our own letter, or we just got a little boost here from Mr. J and you had your mail merge form letter. That's where we are. So as we start to get moved forward, we're still there now, and we're seeing how this looks. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Then maybe at this point, we want to do some adjusting up and down or something with the space. We could certainly do that. But I want you to notice this is a single page. This is the original page that we started typing on, or in this case, we already had it typed. And so we just simply indicated where we wanted these various fields to go. So that's the preview. And if you want to see what the next name looks like we talked about before, you can do those tricks. But then we get to finish and merge, and watch what happens when I hit this. Just like before, it's going to create a whole new document. A whole new document. You ready? Oh yeah, I always forget this. Yes, we want all of them. All right, so now it named it letters 1. If you recall before, the brand new document, when we did our labels, instead of document 1, it said labels 1. So that's kind of how they do that. And just to show you that it absolutely is a different one, there's the one that we had before, where we were working on setting things up like that. And now this one says letters 1, and I expand it. And then of course we look over here at this elevator car, and there's a lot of pages here. Now look at our elevator car. So check it out. We can go scrolling through here one click at a time, but this is a good time to share another feature. So everyone knows you have a left click on your mouse, you have a right click on your mouse, but your center wheel, everybody knows that you find this out almost by accident, just by rolling it back and forth, things happen on your screen. Well, your left click, your right click, and your wheel is actually a third click. If you can hold it steady so you're not actually rolling it, and watch what happens to my little cursor here. Push it down and I click it. Then that happens. And then you can see when I move it, that original spot stays there and weird things happen. So I start to go up. It's the further away from my source, the faster it goes. And if I just want to go slowly, I just keep it close to where we started or go down. So I'm going to put it about that speed. And now I've taken my hand off of the keyboard. I'm stretching back. And I'm just taking a quick peek at my formatting for these letters, just kind of make sure things are working out. I know they're all going to be fine, but that's a great tool to use, especially if you're working on a large document. You want to make sure that some image or something didn't end up in the far right corner or in the margin or something like that. So just a little trick. And how do you stop it? Well, you just click any key and it deactivates that. And that's that. So there they are. You have just successfully done mail merge for labels as well as a form. So again, we had this quick access toolbar by default. It shows up here. And all I simply did was went within this area here and I right clicked. Remember that, right click on things and strange things become available to you. It's a great thing to do when you're poking around, especially in Google because things change all the time. So I can remove that feature from the quick access toolbar that I just right clicked on. I can customize the quick access toolbar, and that's going to take us to a page I'll show you in a second. Show the quick access toolbar above the ribbon. Again, that's where it came. And all I did was right click on it and say, show the toolbar below the ribbon. And that's what I want. So there it is. So yes, Mr. J, can you just go to that great place you were talking about where you can customize the whole thing or customize the ribbon just by clicking on that? You betcha. That's available from just right clicking there. We're going to do it the long way just to show you where we're actually going and how you can get to it. So I go to the backstage view. That's what that file tab ribbon is. And you might have to look at a few things to try and remember if you haven't been there in a while. Options. Well, that sounds promising. Let's try that. And now a Word options dialog box opens. Remember I said there's a lot of dialog boxes, and this is cool. Look at this. I can make it bigger or smaller if I, want to be able to see more. I think that's probably good. And let's look what we have. So we have general. And by the way, if you've never been back in this backstage area down in the options section, look at all these different categories of options that you have. In fact, I'm going to click on this one. And this says save auto recover information every 10 minutes. Well, my laptop, I already did this. I said save it every 1. And so what that means is when I click OK, it's every minute when I'm typing, it's going to save it. There's a better way to do that if you have 2016. It's about using the World Wide Web, the cloud, and having your stuff stored there. And that's what this is, where you can turn that on. And so just like Google, it's actually storing everything up in a Microsoft server somewhere. But this is another way that you could do it, especially if you have 2013 or an older one that you're using. So I'm going to, if I click OK, is that going to get me out of there? Of course it is. So backstage options. Okay, we're back. So here's the general stuff. Take some time to look through that, and always look over at the elevator card. That'll give you an idea of how much information is in there. Display, what's that all about? Well, it's all these different things that have to do with display. Proofing, this is about, this is something I learned the hard way. Ignore words in uppercase when correcting spelling. You know how you're typing along and all of a sudden the word that you actually added too many N's to or too many O's to, it's now got a red squiggly line under it. Well, if this is selected and you happen to be typing out headers and they're uppercase and you add an extra 3 N's or something like that to it, it's not going to tip you off. So you might end up, not doing a spell check because you don't see any red. So here's where you make a lot of those decisions right in there. And there's just so much stuff here. It would take you forever to get through. Again, there's the save one. We kind of talked about some of those different things, and you can kind of look through there and see it. Language, different options, ease of access, making things accessible to for a variety of different reasons. Advanced, this is pretty cool. All kinds of things you can do in here. And this is actually significant. When you cut, copy, and paste, are you going to keep the source formatting, the thing you copied, or are you going to merge the formatting or just keep the text only? You have some options. If you're not sure yet, the more you play with it and you copy something and then you go to paste it, you're going to see those options there. Do you want to keep the source formatting? Do you want to do this, do that? And once you become familiar with it, well, then you can set yours up so it does it exactly the right way every single time. There we go. So this is the ones we're interested in. Customize ribbon. And I'm looking at my clock. We still have time. So we're going to go to Quick Access Toolbar. Again, I can right click on any feature up here and automatically it will, I can choose and just add it to here. I want you to notice what I have. Autosave, save, undo, redo, styles, autosave, save, undo, redo. These are the same ones that are up there right now. You remember when I added open the navigation pane. So by default, it takes us to popular commands, and that's exactly what it sounds like. Bullets, autosave, different things that you can do. If I want to put one in there like this copy feature, then I just select it, click there, and it goes in. But if I move my word options dialog box, you'll notice it's not here yet because we haven't selected OK. So just like all dialog boxes, all thousands of them that they have, you can experiment, cruise around, and if you hit cancel or X, any changes, like I could say, I want to do that one, I want to do that one, I want to do that one, I want to do this one, and just start going crazy just to see how it works and say, oh, I want the editor up here at the top. So since it's selected, I can go up and down, and you're seeing how it works. Well, as long as I don't hit OK, it's not going to happen. Is for just to show you how fast this goes. Bam, that's gone. Go to here, right click, customize ribbon. Nope, customize quick access toolbar. Hey, does that look familiar? So now we're back there, but you saw how we got there in the backstage view. So again, popular commands. Look at our elevator car here. There's like what, 3 pages or 3 screens, I guess it's like this, call this a page, of different things. And some of them have subcategories. That's pretty cool. You can't actually see it, but when you have that shortcut feature up there and it shows up here and you click on it, you get the little drop-down menu that has the other features that are in it. That's pretty slick. And actually, insert section breaks. That's one of the ones I have when I'm making my handbooks, and I happen to have that one in there. Again, this is my home office computer. I haven't really done anything on this, but if COVID keeps going for a while, I probably will. But here's my point. That's just the popular commands. Then you have all these categories, macros, whatever those are, just little pieces of programming that can make your life easier. Maybe one day we'll have a class on that. But here's all some of the different things that are available in there that you could look for. So if you want to see all of the ones on the Home tab ribbon, there they are. Here's all the ones in the Home tab ribbon. And if you want to just from here, instead of right-clicking on any of these and then put them over here on your quick access toolbar, you could do that. That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, then you could go to the Design tab ribbon. Maybe that's where you want to like take your style sets or your style themes. Where's your themes at? Style theme. I don't see it for some reason. Theme colors, theme effects, theme fonts, theme. Oh, there it is. I guess it's just called themes. And then I could add that and I could put that in there. But check this out. Just so you know, we're going to go to all and come on, look at the size of our elevator car. And so here's all of the shortcut commands, many of which do not exist on any of the tab ribbons, not on the Home tab ribbon, the Insert tab ribbon, Design tab ribbon, Layout tab ribbon, but they're there. And if you have a specific task that you're doing and you want to make sure those tools on your custom or your quick access toolbar are there for you, you can go in, you can find them all. Chart quick colors. I don't know if that's on the ribbon or not. Maybe that might be, but you'll find some in here that are not, and any one of them you can put on there. Great. We already said you just select it, click add, it goes over. And if you click OK, then it goes. And by the way, if at the end of the day you're done, you're like, oh my gosh, I got way too many stuff, you could maybe click reset and make it all go back to default. But let's look over here, custom ribbon. What's a custom ribbon? There's a Home tab ribbon we're looking at. And if I click on design, then the new ribbon for design comes out. And here we go. Look over here. So we have already the Home tab ribbon. And we can see in the Home tab ribbon, we have the clipboard group. There it is, followed by the font group. Mr. J, move that box, that dialog box down. Thank you. All right, after the font group is the paragraph group. There it is. Well, if you decide that, dadgummit, I never want to see that one again, the paragraph one, you can actually take that out of there. I just did that crazy thing and made it show everything that's in there. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. That's pretty cool. Sorry, easily distracted squirrel. Okay, so here in the Home tab ribbon, I'm just going to collapse that. So we have Home tab ribbon, Insert tab, Draw tab, Design tab, Layout tab. Sound familiar? Home, Insert, Design tab. And so any one of these, we can start adjusting things. Or we could just create one brand new, here it is, new group. So I could click a new group. That's going to be in the Home tab ribbon. New tab is what I want. I'm not going to add it to the Home tab ribbon. It's putting it there, I think, because we happen to be on it up here. But if you want to create your own ribbon, and again, you can move these up and down, but this ribbon we're going to call Fred. Oh, what happened? Where do I get to? Oh, rename it. There we go. Haven't done this in a while. So the new group, I'm just going to call it Fred. One of my all-time favorite cartoons as a kid, the Flintstones. Okay. So there's my Fred tab. That's pretty cool. New tab is called Fred. That's pretty neat. Actually, I named the subsection. Okay, pay attention. And I could name it Fred right there. That's great. But here's the deal. You can make it custom in any way. And once you expand that and you start to put different things in here, maybe this over here is what you want to add. And so you can add it, it goes in there. And then maybe you want this one here and you can add that. Maybe this one here and you can add that. Remember, these are popular commands. We get all the way over to the all commands. And so we can go cruising through this and find just all the ones that absolutely we need to have in our very custom one, or it could be the ones that were actually on the other ribbons, but you just want one ribbon with all your favorite things from every single ribbon in your Fred custom ribbon. That's how you do it. And again, if you don't click OK, then you're just playing around and practicing. But if I set this up and I actually want this, then I can actually just go down and click OK. Oh my gosh, look what I've done. I've created a Fred tab. There it is. It only has a few of the things that are on there. Well, of course, I don't want that really, because who wants to see a Fred tab? So I'm going to right click here, go down to customize ribbon. Excuse me. So I go back to here, I select that, and I should be able to hit, I'm just going to hit delete, see if that works. Nope, that didn't work. So check the box, check the box. I've done this before. I'm trying to remember how I did it. So if it's not checked, then I would imagine it's not going to be there. So I'm going to click OK, see if it disappears. That's the idea. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So what I just remembered, customize a ribbon. So I can make something and it can be there, but if it's not checked, it's not going to be in there. Like the draw tab isn't going to be in there unless I click draw. And now that one with all of its subordinate sections will show up if that is selected. So then I hit OK. Let me make sure Fred's not selected. Okay, good. And there it is. Now we have the draw tab. Pretty cool. So again, that's how you customize the quick access toolbar. That's how you customize your own ribbon. It takes a little poking around in there. I think it's a little bit different than what it was in 2013. But again, you just have to right click on things, left click on things, and kind of see what things look like. And you can do all kinds of customizations. Why? Because this is a Lamborghini or a hypercar. And I'm looking down at my notes, and I can't believe I went so fast through all of those things. Ah, there's one more thing that we can do. We have time. Let's get rid of this, go down. All right. So in previous classes, for some reason, maybe it was because we had a lot, we had a lot of questions or something that might have taken us over time. But you have a file called quotes version 4 footnotes. And so it's going to look the same as the version 3 that's already been done up and everything. But this one is for footnotes. All right. And let's go ahead and turn on our navigation pane. Isn't that sweet, having that button right there? I don't have to go find it over here somewhere. All right, and you'll notice that it's pretty much exactly the same, except down at the bottom it says practice material footnote. And there it is. And again, navigation pane. We're up here. We want to get down to the bottom. Bam, there we go. So what I'd like you to do, if you're following along, I want to put my cursor here and I can drag across there, or I can do my Control Shift and tab my right arrow a few times. Oh, too far, hold my shift key and left arrow, boom, that's what I want. What we're going to do for this exercise is we're going to put this on our clipboard. So we're going to copy it. All right, that's our practice material. And this is a fact about William Faulkner, who wrote his only play called Requiem, I can't even say that word, Requiem for a Nun in 1951. That's pretty cool. That sounds like something you'd see in a footnote. So let's go up to William Cuthbert Faulkner, and let's find out where that says that. Let's see, American writer, Nobel Prize laureate from Oxford, Mississippi. Faulkner wrote novels, short stories, a play. Okay, well, it's going to be hard to see with my little paint spot, but I'm going to get right in there behind the Y. And what happens if I miss? Well, I just use my little arrow keys and get exactly right there. That's where we want our footnote, not after the comma, but right before it. All right, so what do we do next? Well, we need to figure out where up here we can do that. And if we've used it a few times, we may remember that it's in the references, same tab ribbon that we did table of contents, but now we have footnotes. Remember, endnotes and footnotes are two different things. Endnotes are something that would be like the end of a section or something like that with all these notes, like other things you can look up about whatever subject you just read about for 4 or 5 pages, something like that. But a footnote is specific to one little piece of information on that page, and you want it to be at the bottom of the page so they can say, oh, a play, and there's a number 1 there. Let's go find out what it says. So again, we have our cursor where we want it, right after play. We're on the reference tab in the footnotes group. Insert footnote. That pretty much makes sense. Add a note at the bottom of the page, providing more info about something in your document. Exactly. Bam. And so now you see the cursor at the bottom followed by a 1. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put our cursor there and we're going to right click, because we like to do things fast in Mr. J's class. And we go up to here and just say keep source formatting. Remember we talked about different kinds of options about when you copy and paste. So you start to see, if you look down at the bottom of the page, as I hover over these, because we're in a hypercar, it'll give these little demos of what it looks like. But we're going to do the first one, keep source formatting. And now we can see at the bottom of the page, footnote number 1 says that. And where is it at the top of the page? We go over here to quick navigate to biographical information. And there it is. There's the number 1. So you could have just gone in here and said, oh, I can't remember how to do the footnote thing. So I'm just going to make a superscript and a little tiny 1, and I'm going to put it up there. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm just going to put another superscript 1, little tiny 1, and I'm going to type out, this information at the bottom. Look at that, Mr. G, I did the same thing you did, and I didn't even have to go here to references and all that. But what happens if then you want to add something else up here? Like maybe a Nobel Prize laureate. That's kind of interesting information. Then you gotta go start changing stuff down below. But no, the HyperCar does it for you quickly. Point A to Z, bam. Go down to footnote practice material. And this time we're going to grab the second chunk, the Nobel Prize in Literature. And you know what? We don't even mind if we have that little extra paragraph because that'll keep some spacing between them. So that's why I've added that. And so I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to copy it. And then we're going to go to the top to the biographical information. Thank you, navigation page. And American writer and Nobel Prize laureate. So Nobel Prize laureate, that's all kind of the same part there. So I'm going to put the cursor right at the end. And that's where we want to do it. And we simply go over and remember, that says number 1. If we put 1 here, that's not going to be a number 2. That's not how footnotes work. They're in order down your page from left to right, top to bottom. And so here's where your HyperCar does it all for you. So I just put that there, insert footnote, bam, takes us to the bottom. And you'll notice it automatically bumped that first one. Okay, get out of my way, zoom window. Let me do that. There we go. The bottom one, or the one that was up on top in the prime position, number 1, was about his play. It's now number 2. And it's saying, well, what do you want to put here? I could just type out the information, but because in Mr. J's class, we do things quickly, then we can go up here. Yes, we want to keep source formatting. I click it, and there it is. If there's too much space there, see my cursor is going, just hit my delete key and suck that up from the bottom. I said delete key. Oh, it's not going to do it. Let's go higher. Can I go this way? It's doing its own automatic spacing, and I'll explain that in a second, but you do have some control over it. So let me see if I can get this to happen. Okay, so I made it a little more squat, and I had to play with it. But here's what we need to know. If I go back up here, and for some reason I have 5 more footnotes that I want to put on here, where do those go? They go at the bottom of the page. And so again, the more information we put in here, then maybe this paragraph jumps to the next page. We add a few more footnotes, and pretty soon these couple paragraphs now jump to the next page. So you can see how doing this the longhand way of just putting a superscript 1 with the information, you go back and change anything, then you got to reformat the entire book or your whole document and all that. It's a pain. So this is going to do it for you automatically. And as we can see, that's number 1. And that's number 2. And so that's the footnote exercise, and it's in your handbook, and it simply quotes V4, version 4, and it says footnotes at the end of it, because at the bottom of it, if you open up your navigation pane, you can quickly get down there and you can copy those things and then just paste them and going back and forth and doing it. So thank you so much for being with us today. You all have a great rest of your week and weekend. Thank you.